speculation that Canty had spent $140,000 on the girl over 18 months, and there were reports that he'd fashioned a second identity for himself as well. In the tough sections of the city's smoggy south side, he had taken on another name and was known as a general practitioner. It seemed an unlikely role for the 51-year-old psychologist. His mother was a former president of the Detroit School Board and a longtime leader of the PTA. His late father was a nationally known criminologist and a former executive director of the psychiatric clinic serving the city's largest court. Some of us in the jury box already had portrayed the victim as an author, a teacher, and an expert on autism. He was a prominent professional with a flourishing practice in the Fisher Building, one of the city's most impressive office addresses. When the first witness sat down, her back was erect. Jan Canty was only 6 feet from us on the stand. Yes, she knew the victim. Yes, they were married nearly 11 years. Yes, the last she heard from him, he was on his way home from the office, planning to stop at a grocery store for coffee. No, she hadn't given anyone permission to dissect her husband's body. There was nothing more about their life together, only answers that shored up the prosecutor's charge of mutilation. We all wondered what she knew, but she left as quickly as she came. Then a homicide cop began bringing forth witnesses through a door behind the bench. Soon it was clear why Jan Canty had waited outside instead of with the others in the witness room. The proceeding took on a cinematic quality. The homicide cop, a casting director, as the standing room-only audience murmured with each new character. Visually, they were all striking. An unshaven Southsider lumbered forward to testify in yellowed jeans and a faded black T-shirt. Another wore a gold earring, his arm tattooed with dragons and assorted slogans. A neighbor of the suspects raised his hand to be sworn, displaying a scorpion tattooed across his middle finger. One young blonde looked innocent enough with her turned-up nose and tiny frame. Then everyone saw the blue tattoo scrawled across her right triceps. Another waddled to the stand, looking as though she was going to deliver any day. She was an odd sight, so pregnant, but so close to such murder and mayhem. They all seemed incapable of sharing anything in the life of the first witness of the day. When the exam was over, I left the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice and decided to drive from downtown to take a look at the victim's home in Grosse Pointe Park. Already I suspected that even a lengthy magazine story wasn't going to cover the distance between the two sets of images I saw in the court. The drive out Jefferson Avenue along the Detroit River was stratified like a sociological core sample of class variations. Once lined with ma-and-pa stores and thriving industrial plants, Jefferson was a broken chain of boarded building fronts and party stores fortified by bulletproof glass. A stretch of stylish high-rises still stood, but only a few blocks away were some of the most economically depressed neighborhoods in the United States. They weren't much different than the streets that had produced the group of witnesses in court. Nobody in sight resembled the billboard over one burned-out building. A man in a designer tuxedo, savoring a snifter of Martell cognac. Then, at Alter Road, Jefferson Avenue became the gateway to the points. Grosse Pointe, Grosse Pointe Park, Grosse Pointe Farms, Grosse Pointe Woods, and Grosse Pointe Shores. Since the 19th century, these suburbs have been the home of the Motor City's industrial aristocracy. Old rail and auto money developed the most affluent sections. People with such names as Ford, Fisher, and Dodge. Some exceeded extravagance. Anna Dodge, wife of auto pioneer Horace Dodge, imported European craftsmen to build Rose Terrace, her monument to 18th century French architecture. It was razed a few years back, but most of the other stone-walled estates remained along the shores of Lake St. Clair. For years, the Grosse Pointers took the term exclusive literally. Until a 1960 lawsuit, the suburbs were known for their point system, a checklist used by realtors to weed out prospective buyers. They awarded points on the basis of ethnic background.